Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Power of Mindset podcast, episode number 28. This is Hayk, your host, and I wanted to cover a interesting item of 10 hacks of life that were recently sent to me by a friend of mine. And when you do expose yourself to lessons of life, whether if it's philosophy, whatever interest you have, and I've said this many times before, you attract where you are. And I have been enjoying self-help books, business books, success books, the Bible, lessons that have been passed down by people who've been successful over the years. And, if you're wondering, where do you always find this kind of content? Well, if that's what you're looking for, that's what you're going to find. Like, what do you Google? What do you seek? What do you share? What do you send to people? And when you are sharing certain kind of information with others, others think of you when something else comes up. So actually, these 10 things were sent to me by a friend of mine. He's like, Hike, check it out. 10 hacks of life. I love these. So I'm going to quickly go and give you guys my 2 cents because, of course, there's a lot more than 10. There's like billions, but I like these 10 a lot. So I wanted to make this recording episode on these 10 things that I haven't written down with some notes here. So 10, essentially 10 hacks of life that I found to be very interesting. And I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. And I think these would be important and interesting, especially for those people who do like very similar information as I do. You like philosophy, you like human behavior, you like motivation, you like success. These are great items to keep in mind as you're looking, or maybe you have found your success, but you're looking to maintain. I think these work really well. First one, life waits for nobody. Get up every day and keep pushing through no matter what. Don't wait for the perfect condition to start working towards your goals. Start now. So I think that's a big piece. Start now and don't wait. I think too many people are conditioning themselves to wait. I will work hard when I get the perfect job. I will, have this uh, perfect way of approaching a relationship when I find the perfect person. But the truth is, it's not about finding the perfect person. It's having perfect approach and not necessarily perfect, but giving your best. Giving your best is perfect, even though perfection can never be achieved. So too many people become, I will do it when, I will do it if the moon and the Saturn and Venus align themselves then, right? So they're conditioning to say, I will do my best later. Unfortunately, when that later comes, they don't. And they're living through life being what we call unlucky. But if you think about the definition of luck, preparation plus opportunity equals luck. Preparation plus opportunity equals luck. So preparation is always give your best no matter what you do. If anything is worth doing, it's worth doing your best. Unfortunately, too many people don't give their best. They're waiting for perfect conditions. Therefore, they never get there. And if they do get lucky enough to be in a condition where they do have something good, they don't have the work ethic. They don't have the mindset to maintain. So therefore, they call themselves unlucky, as in opportunity came, they were not prepared. So we are unlucky, right? So no matter what, one of the best habits of life is if something is worth doing, it's worth doing well. Just do things well. Don't kill yourself, but do it well. When you give your best, no matter what, things that are worth doing at capacity, you're going to do well and you're going to consider yourself lucky, and so will the outside world. But also keep in mind the rule of thirds as you are working at something at capacity. I remember this from my triathlon coach who said, no matter what you do, if it's worth doing, if it's something you're doing at capacity and you're working your butt off, like it or not, you're going to get to a point where there's going to be something you hate about it, right? Rule of thirds. Third of the time you hate it, third of the time you're confused about how you feel, and third of the time you will love it. And I think too many times we quit when we get to something that we don't like, as in we hate. Hate's a strong word, but we do get to many points within many aspects of our life, whether if it's our relationships, career decision, or hobby, right? Oh, I don't like it. I feel like I hate it. Well, today, if it's the third of you hating, then you're on the right path. Too many times we quit because we find something that we like, but we discover the part that we hate. If you hate third of it, it's great. Now, I've had people tell me, well, heck, I feel like I love 99% of what I'm doing. Well, it's probably not worth doing because it seems like there's too much joy. You're not trying hard enough. You're not playing hard enough. You're not training or you're not working hard enough. Because when you do, trust me, you are going to discover third that you hate, third that you're confused about, and third that you love. Best habit of life, give it your best no matter what you do. Because then if you do walk away and the hate's like 90%, hate's like 50%, that wasn't for you, but you took the good habit out of it. So number two, make sure you take good care of yourself. If something happens to you, the world will move on and you will fall behind. Self-care is crucial mentally and physically. Don't neglect your health. So that's a big one too, because I don't want to say that people don't care. Realistically speaking, they don't. Like, do you as you're working on your goals and you're working your butt off and you're waking up early, you're giving your best to your family, you're giving your best to your career, would you want somebody holding you back? Like somebody else's problems that are impacting you. In many ways, people say I want people who are encouraging, who are healthy or good for me. I want good influence, right? But then something might happen in your life where somebody's poor decisions might impact you, right? Somebody gets into trouble with the law. Somebody gets into trouble with their health. Somebody gets into trouble with something because they weren't really taking care of themselves either. I can't say it's always a burden, but realistically speaking, when you don't take care of yourself physically, financially, mentally, you might become a burden on somebody else, and that's the last thing they might need in their life. And tables could be turned as well. But if everybody took care of themselves, we would have a better support group system. And I don't know if you guys know some people who are always running into issues and problems and just the wet blanket, constantly unlucky and complaintful and negative. Well, if you peel the layers of the onion, you get to the juicy part, you'll notice that person just doesn't take themselves too seriously, and they don't train hard, they don't work hard. They're always depending on others. Realistically speaking, they're always dragging you down. So if you just focus on yourself, you won't be that person for others, and you might just create a circle of people who are more like you, who take care of themselves. Therefore, they're helping take care of you. So you do attract what you are. So you want to have people that do make you better and push you and motivate you. Selfishly speaking, take care of yourself. There's absolute huge benefits in you being your strongest version physically, right? Training, waking up early, working out, because there's so much mental benefit to people who are physically fit. Runners, lifters, hikers, whatever it is that you do that challenges you physically will make you healthy mentally as well. If you're not taking care of yourself, you just might find yourself in a circle of people who don't, and all you're doing is holding each other back. Number three, if you don't work to build your dreams, your dream life, you're probably building somebody else's. So think about this for a second. I'm not saying working for others is the problem. No, like everybody worked for somebody else. Everybody's making somebody else rich. I'm making somebody else rich too. But the question is, how valuable am I to them? And the more valuable I'm to whoever is making things off of me, the more valuable I'm to myself. Because too many people are in their jobs or in an environment where they can't stand, right? And that impacts who they are. That impacts who they are. So if you don't figure out a way to be passionate for what you do, the path becomes very painful, and the path can actually be a path that impacts your other aspects of your life, your health, your mental well-being. So can you find passion in what you do? Yes, like it or not, third will be something that you hate, third will be confusing, third will be something you love. But if it's a lot of it like that you don't love, and you can't stand, but you're a slave to the paycheck, that's time to probably look for something else. But no matter what you do, you're always going to help somebody build their dreams. But realistically speaking, what is your dream? Are you doing things that make you a better person? Are you saving? Is it giving you ability to have a good life potentially in the future? Or is it a dead end kind of a situation where, again, some people are just taking orders at a fast food restaurant, making somebody else rich, and it's not doing anything for them. It's not improving them. It's not making them better. It's not teaching them negotiation skills, conversation skills, dealing with people skills, right? Those are very important parts of you building your dream, because what you become in a process is far more important than the actual process itself. So put yourself in a process that makes you better, right? Because when you get better, like it or not, you just make your dreams come true more easily, more effectively, and things just work in your favor. And again, people call you lucky over a certain period of time. So think about, what are you doing to work towards your dreams? How uncomfortable are you? If you're doing just easy work, well, you're easily replaced by the person that you're pushing to go after their dreams. If you're doing hard work, well, guess what? We're all working our dreams together. Number four, work in silence, celebrate in private. People love to ruin things. I agree with this. When people do cheer for you, they want to help you, they want to be there for you, but they don't want you to do better for them. There's a lot of things as you succeed, you, I think, have to keep in mind. I've noticed that too. There's some people that I've shared some success with. They said they were happy, but I didn't sense it at all. There was no genuine happiness in that, as in they don't want you to do better than them. There's jealousy, there's envy, there's all kinds of things that don't go into like a pleasing conversation when somebody sees you do better than them. And that's why I think it's important, even with like people close to you, maybe share the fruits of your labor, as in offer assistance and help and care for them. and show them the lessons. But be very careful on what part of your success you display to people. It does truly ruin relationships. People are unhealthily competitive without even knowing they're doing it. And some people's worst comes out. They start putting you down, they start competing, they start saying things that you might not enjoy. And to be honest, I haven't really, as I went from being one of the poorest people I knew to achieving some financial success in my life, I've seen people change towards me because a lot of them did not. So be very careful what you share. It might ruin relationships. You might create people who are more jealous, and that might cause issues within the relationships. Number five, don't regret your past, just learn from it and move on. This is a good one too, because I think too many times we fail and we lose sleep over it, over and over and over. We change, we become less risky, less aggressive on attempting the same thing again. But we also know that instead of attempting it again, because if there's something we failed at doing, that means it was worth doing. We tried. Because if you don't fail at anything, that means you're not trying hard enough things or good enough things or things that might be worth doing. So when you fail and you stop, that's the problem because winners never quit, quitters never win. Therefore, we actually stop trying to win. But the truth of the matter is, we have to do it again, but this time we have to do it slightly different. Whether if it's changing the process or the system or doing it differently, whether if it's the business idea, the relationship idea, or just getting better at whatever kind of a career you have or whatever kind of a relationship you're building, you can change the environment too. But problem is people just stop trying. They stop doing things that could give them reward because they don't want to fail. And unfortunately, they never win because they stop. So you have to learn from the mistakes and you have to move forward because mistakes are the best lessons. And if you're not making mistakes, that means you're not making enough good moves in your life. Number six, no one cares. Work harder to become better each day. Motivation should come from within, not from seeking external validation. I mean, I've said this a million times before. No one cares. Work harder. People will care. Yes, there'll be a group of people that want to support you realistically. They got their own things to care about. They don't want you to be a burden, right? So when you realize you should stop seeking mommy's and daddy's support and other people to do the things for you, nobody's going to care for you more than you care for yourself. I have people in my business that sit 5 feet away from each other. Some are doing 6 times better than the one that's 5 feet away. It's the same training, same materials, same everything, same office, but why is the other person doing 6 times better? I've actually people do 10 times better when I compare paychecks sometimes month to month. Why? I can't care for you. I can give you everything. I can give you the resources and the tools and the material and training and the books, but I can't care, right? So you have to care. And no one will care for you. That's why no one cares. Work harder. Realistically speaking, if you don't care enough, you're not going to work hard enough. You're not going to make enough mistakes. You're not going to take it personally enough. You're not going to go to sleep with those mistakes and have a synapse be born in the back of your brain that bridges the gap between A and B. And all of a sudden you wake up, you're slightly better. And you wake up, you're slightly better. 6 months later, everything makes sense. Eureka, you're killing it. That comes from people who care. That's why when I say no one cares, work harder, no one will care for you. I can't care for you. But when you become a victim mentality and you're feelings based and you just want others to care for you, you will not be the person that cares enough to change and adapt because it's not the fastest or the strongest that survives long term. It's the one that adapts to the quickest. So you have to care to adapt, to fail, to learn from your mistakes, to go to sleep and wake up and get slightly better every day because every day looks the same. But when you go back and look at year, 2, 3, 5 out, everything is different. The ones who care the most are the ones who adapt the best and are the ones who move forward like the um was it item number one? Life waits for no one. Get up every day and keep pushing through no matter what. Yes, that matters and connects to item number six because no one truly does care. You have to care yourself. Otherwise, life will move on if you don't care. You have to care. You have to care. You have to lose some sleep over it once in a while. Number seven, ignore advice from anyone who doesn't live the life you want to live. I think this is a huge one. Like who's giving you the marathon or the training or the diet advice? That matters because everybody can give you good advice. But why are they doing it? Maybe pride, maybe they just want to look cool. But I can't tell you how often I've taken advice from somebody that shouldn't have been giving me advice, but I admire them and it did not work. And then also I have vice versa where somebody somebody who I don't look up to, don't admire, gives advice, and I haven't taken it, but it was good advice. So I couldn't really look up to them, but the advice was good. So I think that's the implementation phase about what's the good advice. Who gives it to you matters, because anybody can give you good advice. So you need to find somebody who lives the life of somebody you admire so much and listen to their advice. That's why, again, you have to also be very careful. There's people who live a life you want to live, but there's certain things they shouldn't be telling you. Again, I've had mentors that misguided me to do something that I'm like, crap, I would have done anything that person said, but you have to be very careful not to. So if you are looking to become, let's say, a good marathon runner, find somebody who runs good marathons and take advice on marathons. Don't ask for marriage advice unless that person has an amazing marriage that you can take good advice from. Business, vice versa, right? So that's a wisdom piece. I think it comes with time in relationships, right? Just because you admire somebody doesn't mean all their advice is going to be good. But if you do, if you notice they got the relationships that you want, they got the business that you want, you got the health you want, well, that's a person you want to keep really close. And that's a person you really want to take their advice from. Because if they don't live the life that you want to live, but they're giving you advice, that's advice you don't want to take. That's advice you do not want to take. Number 8, rule over your emotions. A calm mind can handle any situation. I agree. And I've said this a billion times in my lifetime, do not make any decisions when you're angry. Don't make any commitments when you're happy. Our emotion and our heart can get us in trouble. Even the Bible says, do not follow your heart. Sometimes the devil speaks through you through your emotions. So be very careful not to be an emotion-driven person, but be more rule-based and discipline-based. Because if you think about the difference between animals and humans, humans can follow rules much better, even though some of us might say, I don't like following rules. Well, there's a system. If you don't follow good rules, you go to jail. And also, the Bible gave us a lot of lessons of what to follow too. And the closer we follow to some ancient lessons from the Bible, motivational books, success books, the scripture that I'm sharing with you right now, these 10 rules of life, the closer you follow to these, the more successful, the more healthy, the better relationships you have, the more money you make. So, realistically speaking, human beings, the ones who are good at following good rules given from good people that you admire, you want to live like, tend to do better. So, rule over your emotion. Item number 8 is very powerful. A calm mind can handle anything. Dogs and animals, whatever they pee, whatever they want to pee, whatever they feel like doing it. And that's why they're animalistic. And human beings who function based on emotions, doing what they want when they want, are the ones who tend to always be a little behind. And some, unfortunately, freedom taken away, life taken away. They want to do the drugs, they do the drugs. They want to, they want to be able to leave work they do. They don't like what they're doing. All of a sudden, they quit. So emotion can get you in a lot of trouble. It can get you in and out of good relationships. It can get you in bad relationships. It can get you in and out of, or maybe you were 2 feet away from succeeding in your business and you quit. Why? Because you were too emotional. You weren't thinking discipline. You weren't thinking about show up no matter what. You weren't thinking about, okay, I have a rule. Do not hire when I'm desperate. I'm going to consistently look for good talent. So again, a lot of those rules will make you more successful. Therefore, if you have a set of disciplinary rules that are not emotion based, you will be more successful long term. Number 9, if you find someone better than you, don't hate. Ask them for advice and cooperate with them. I think that's an important piece because we get envious, we get jealous, we judge. They're doing better than me, and you make up 15 reasons why they're doing better than you, but you don't realize they're probably doing better than you because they're doing things better than you, they're more disciplined than you, and they are less emotion driven than you, and they truly are following good advice. I remember when I was struggling financially in business, I would compare myself to some of the ones who are doing amazing that I would want to be like. And I would always have excuses. They're doing better because they're in certain zip codes, certain states, certain legislatures playing in their favor, certain market demographic. And I never did well because I never blamed myself and I always made excuses of, I can't, and I had 15 reasons why. And I never blamed myself. As soon as I took the blame on myself, saying, I don't have their conditions in life, not because I'm not in that zip code and not in that condition, but it's because I don't have that mindset. I'm not thinking abundance. I'm not thinking kindness. I'm not thinking grind and hard work. Can't tell you how many people in business are like, I just want to work less, and ask them, how much do you work? They're like 30 to 40 hours a week. I'm like, so what do you mean work less? What do you want to have anxiety and you want to be able to have all this time in your hand? Realistically speaking, when you give a human being too much freedom to do whatever they want when they want, issues psychologically follow. people start digging holes in their relationships and finding other issues to solve. Trust me, one of the best blessings you have is to work hard and continuously solve issues, because when you take that away from you, you're going to be looking for other issues to solve. And trust me, there's some problems you do not want to find, because you often create those problems, you find them, and all of a sudden something's wrong. Marriage is not working out. Oh, my hobbies have to change. I got to buy that boat. I got to buy that car. I have to move, right? So you see people just constantly trying to find problems to solve because they don't have enough problems to solve with work or their fitness. They're not committing to difficult things. So when I started taking blame on myself, I stopped blaming my circumstances. I blame myself. Therefore, I had to adapt and change. No one cared. I had to work harder, and everything else got better. Everything else got better, right? So, in the people that I started cooperating with that I was blaming and pointing fingers at, thinking that, they got lucky. Realistically speaking, no, I just needed to have more of their mindset, to have more of their conditions in life. And the more of what they were living like is how I started living like myself too, when it comes to the financial tank, the balance, type of the house, type of the car I drive. A lot of it changed because, again, people you admire, you'd be surprised on how much they can teach you. Put your pride aside and ask for guidance and mentorship. That's a big one. Too many people say they want a mentor, they want somebody who's going to make them better, but they do not want to show humility. They do not want them to help you because we are too proud. Last but not least, number 10, you're truly at peace with yourself when you mind your own business. Find your inner peace. Um, Comparison truly is thief of all joy, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm not perfect. I do see some kid or somebody in my position doing better than me or flying in a private jet, and often I second guess myself. Maybe I've got the wrong business. Maybe I've got the wrong relationship. This person's out flying with their spouse, and I'm here grinding it out. Maybe I have the wrong circumstance in my life, so I have to maybe change things up. But I think too many times we second guess ourselves based on a fake life we're comparing ourselves to, because we're looking at somebody else doing certain things that could not even be true. It could be an act. But realistically speaking, we don't know if that person in that red Ferrari on the freeway truly does feel the way you think they feel, or they can't wait to drive their car into a wall. Because that's actually a real thing too. And I have met people who I just couldn't wait to be like. And I second guessed everything and I questioned all my decisions in my life. But once I really got to know them and you really learn what's behind, or what's that was the tip of the iceberg as far as what you see on the surface, but what's going on behind the scenes as far as their mental health, their relationship, there was absolutely none of that I wanted. So be very careful when you compare and contrast, because you're not really minding your own business. That's why I think when you mind your own business, you get happy with what you have. And the happiness comes from where your feet are, not where you're not or what you don't have. And the more you think about that philosophy of happiness is what you have, not the car or the shiny coin. Because when we get addicted to those conditions, we truly never develop the mindset of building the joy that we should be having. Because a lot of people who are much happier than us can have 10 times less. It's not about things, because conditions never come before the mindset. You get the mindset, conditions very much will follow. And don't compare yourself to others. I think that's a really big thief of joy, and you second guess and question your relationship, your job, and where you are in life because you hear somebody else brag or show something. And be very careful, because there's a lot of people making it seem like they're doing so much more and they're so much happier than they actually are. Your happiness comes from within, from your very basic things, your basic relationships, your basic needs, and your basic hobbies. Hope these 10 were useful. I love them a lot. That's why I spent some time talking about it, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, cheers.